Next up was the WWE Intercontinental WCW US title unification match in a 4-way ladder match. Let me quickly run through mine. No storyline going into this, not really. I mean, you could build a mid-card feud if you wanted to, but I've got Chris Jericho going in as the IC champion versus Rob Van Dam versus Mike Awesome versus Chris Benoit as the US champion who defected back to WCW at some point in the story. And I'd have RVD go over to become the new champion for Team WWE as well.
I can't remember if this guy's already been used. Shit. So just tell me if these guys have already been used, and I'll change them.
Mm-hmm.
I've got RVD versus Chris Jericho versus Billy Kidman.
Kidman's in the cruiserweight.
Billy Kidman's
he wins the cruiserweight.
But someone else go while I replace them.
Well,
so I have DDP. I have. Were the Hardys used? Did we use the Hardys?
No, it was.
I don't think so. Use Jeff.
I have Jeff. Did we use Jeff?
Oh no, Jeff won. No, it was the APA versus the Steiners. So yeah, Jeff Hardy's still free.
I have Jeff Hardy against Jeff Jarrett against Conan, and I have Jericho as well in that match.
Awesome.
Because I think Jeff Jarrett is underappreciated, bit of a prick here and there, and was also probably not gonna get on with the McMahons for reasons. And I also think Conan was definitely underutilized, if not utilized at all.
That's a good one.
That's a good shout.
I also had DDP, but I'm subbing in Taz. So I'm getting Taz, Regal, Jericho, and Mike Awesome, because why not? I would have Regal go over because he is my Blackpool Bay, and we all bloody love him. War Games! Yeah.
I think. Okay, that's solid. Well, what we could do for either this one, do you want to do the usual voting, or do you want to do what we did last time and just each pick one from our matches? Because we've got quite a lot of similar guys here.
Sure, let's do
amalgamate.
That. Let's do
an amalgamation. I'm going to keep RVD on for my side of things.
I will keep Conan.
War Games!
We're just picking like one person from our...
Yeah, one person each.
All right, then I don't have to change mine. I'll take the one guy I've got left. I'll take Jericho.
Oh, awesome.
Sounds perfect.
RV. Who would like to go over is the question.
Ooh.
So we've got
I don't want Conan to go over.
I'd like Jericho too. I'd love Jericho too.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Jericho, I'll side with Jericho then. Yes.
He's like the antithesis of WCW and WWE. He's like he's
the antithesis of the IC title.
Yeah,
that as well. Eighth match was where the Undertaker and Sting slot now goes, so that one's already decided. So that moves us to the ninth match, which was another tag team, but it was a free stipulation.
You can. Yes.
Thank you. I'll go for it quickly. This is where I was building, because you guys kept bringing Triple H up, and I was like, you fuckers, can you stop doing it?
Yeah. No, we were all for the same reason. Yeah. Greg, I think we have the same match. I swear we have the same match, because I just put mine in the chat.
Does it happen to be DX?
Yeah, it's Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. DX,
exact same.
The exact same. You put it. Build the story I had building around it. So essentially, I put it as the Click implodes. So for the whole invasion angle, I wouldn't have them being at war with each other because hey, the brothers. But I'd have it be like this kind of underhanded thing where like Hall and Nash are like, Triple H, you should come over to our side. We got cookies over here. You'll like it over here. And like stirring the pot, trying to persuade Triple H to join, and that kind of gets him heat for the WWE. And then as you still build to the event, Hall and Nash. You can have an angle where they beat down Shane and Vince, because obviously at this point they'd be Triple H's father and brother-in-law. Triple H hits the ring and he's like, whoa, guys, stop it. And when he tries to cool the situation down, that's when Hall and Nash attack him. And then now it's Triple H has got no friends with WWE. He needs to kind of redeem himself, so he confronts Hall and Nash. And then that's when he says he wants a match with them, but he's not coming alone. Brings out Shawn Michaels. They reveal they've got the DX clobber on. Boom. And that builds the match. And what?
I need to pop off. My vote goes to Greg because we have the same match. Goodbye.
Bye, Scott.
Farewell, gentlemen. Love you. My other two main events are in there in the chat. And my reasoning is speaks for itself because great matches. Goodbye. Farewell. Love you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, that's basically how I build around it. You know, have this little tease of like could Triple H be joining WCW? Turns out they've just been stringing along. It's all a ruse, and he has to redeem himself, and that's why you bring Shawn Michaels back in. I think we're obviously bending it a little bit. I mean, Shawn Michaels was probably getting a bit better in 2001 for his demons, but I think given we've got an injured Triple H in, we could stretch it a bit to have Shawn and have the proper DX NWO. So yeah, that's my pitch. Oh, and DX go over.
Mine was just because I've moved things around and people. Mine was going to be New Age Outlaws versus Outsiders, so I'm fine going with yours instead, to be honest.
Okay, Chase.
For my WWE team, I've gone with the Hardys.
Right. Okay.
For my WCW team, I went a bit outside the box, and I went for the Filthy Animals, which is Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera Jr., who had like 3 reigns with WCW tag titles.
Okay.
In a ladder match, because I think Hardy's in a ladder match, fantastic, and then you have Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera, 2 of the best cruiserweights ever to have laced up a pair of boots.
Yeah.
Also added into that ladder match. I'd have the Hardys go over.
Partly because Ray would be tired from the cruiserweight match, right? Or did we not have him in it?
Fuck!
Oh yeah, Ray's already in the cruiserweight. Yeah. My cruiserweight one. Sorry, pal, I forgot about
that.
He can do double duty, I guess.
His knees weren't bad back then. He'll be fine.
I'll switch Ray for Psychosis, and we'll have a sort of like a prelude to the Mexicools.
Sure.
But I'd still have the Hardys go over, and the winner gets sort of like a guaranteed contract for like 10 years.
This card's pacing. I mean, because if we were doing a real card, right, we would pace it. That doesn't mean bathroom break matches, but that means like, let's have a bit of a, a fun match or something, or a little bit of a slow down, whatever. This is like, let's just fuck it. Let's just destroy everyone's like energy and like, sure, we've probably got like the 2 biggest stars ever to have wrestled in the main event, but then we've also got the 2 biggest stars ever to have wrestled in the match before, and then also the 2 biggest tag teams to have ever wrestled in the match before that. So, that being said,
from where it was.
If I was going more towards the pacing, I would go with Jace, because it would. I don't think it would wear people out as much. However, because it's the super card and we're doing like every feud ever in this one super card, I would have to go with DX NWO type beat.
Yeah. See, I was trying to avoid using Shawn Michaels. The only reason I've used Shawn Michaels in my card is because I couldn't use Angle.
Right. Yeah. See, that was every time you guys brought, like, the one time you brought Shawn, I was like, okay, I can get past that. But every Garrett kept bringing up Triple H, I was like, stop it. I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know how you want to with the voting, but do you want to keep voting, or is it going to be more of a discussion about what should go where?
No, I think that's fine. I think we're all agreed.
Yeah, it's DX and
100%. Now comes the bit where I think everyone fights.
This is going to be where it's a bit tricky. I mean,
because I think all of us probably have this match where it's bold man. But where did you put it?
I didn't have it. I basically this is the match I'm not very confident about. So do you mind if I just kind of get rid of it?
Go for it.
Yeah. So I didn't want. I toyed with the idea of Hogan and Austin, but I just don't like. Loads of people say that's the dream match, and I just don't see it that way. I
don't think so.
Being a good match, no. But so he's on the card, and so I could get like a bunch of good people in one match. I went. It's a free choice for the WCW title in our first main event. I've got Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Kurt Angle versus Kurt Angle, and their WWE guys versus Ric Flair, who's going in as the WCW champion, versus Goldberg. I've got a few ideas of building story around it. But ultimately, it was just to get a bunch of 4 great guys in the card, and then that way you can also have. You can still have Goldberg in there, but protect him in a long match because he's with 3 other guys who can work all around his limitations. You still get the Austin thing. I'd like keep the Austin Angle feud that was actually in the Invasion, but work it in with still on the same side as well. It wasn't a match I put a lot for, and I just thought this would kind of work. And then I'd still have Ric Flair retain the belt because in my feud this would have been the one to have it 5-5 before going into the main event. So Flair wins, and that way he's protected winning because there's 3 other guys in the way, if that makes sense. It's very much a hodgepodge, but I think you could have an interesting match out of it.
So my WCW title match also has Ric Flair going in as champion against The Rock.
Ooh.
Because I don't think these guys ever had a singles match. Obviously, they had the tag match at WrestleMania with Mick Foley, Batista, and was it Randy Orton?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the 3-on-2. So we've had that, but we've never. I don't think we've ever had The Rock versus Flair singles match.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a match like. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that Scott has Flair versus Rock, and I also have Flair versus Rock for the WCW.
There we go.
There we go. Like this is like at the time this was the past/present of not just a company but of wrestling in Ric Flair against the present/future of wrestling with The Rock. Obviously, we know he went on and did Hollywood and whatever, but at the time we didn't know that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think I was torn between doing Rock and Hogan, but we still got that at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
so I didn't choose that.
I agree.
I think we still got that at WrestleMania.
I think a Flair versus Rock, right? For the WCW.
Yeah,
you take Rock wins, and then you go on for the WCW title. You just continue on with Rock and Hogan, and then you just do that because it was mad. I think that's probably the biggest match you could do if you continue on to then do Hogan. So yeah, I think most of us are in agreement of that. I don't mind.
I think you guys should probably take this because I think all 3 of you have this one. There's little point in me really.
Well, let's argue about the WWE title then in our main event too.
This is the only point where the wheels have come off my card because I've been doing so well. I had Rock and Hogan in this one. I bumped the Mania match to here. Just because, when you think about the match at Mania, obviously it was a main event match then, but should have gone on last. You're kind of just pulling it forward and putting it as the main event here, and I think that was the ultimate draw. Rock and Hogan, the 2 biggest icons at the time, finally squaring off. So I just basically took the Mania 18 match and just put it here. That's basically my reasoning. And it's for the WWE title as well. So
I think I went for the one that no one else went for.
Which
I went for Austin and Hogan.
I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Here's the thing, right? At the time, who was the biggest thing in WCW? Hogan. Who was the biggest thing in WWE? Austin. Even if it wasn't going to be a great match, just having these 2 guys, look at a few years ago when it was John Cena and AJ Styles.
Yeah.
The first time they were in the ring, not for a match, the first time they were in the same ring. For about 5 minutes, they couldn't do their promos because the crowd was being that loud, chanting John Cena, AJ Styles. Let's go Cena, AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Imagine that with Hogan and Austin in 2001.
Yeah, I think what's happened is me and Garrett got kind of in the same mindset where it was more from our personal point of view. I don't argue people want this match. This was just that one time where I was like, not for me. Where I've fucked my card a little bit, but that's
And again, this would be the ultimate.
Works.
And again, like is from a fan, and like I'm not saying these are wrong, but in 2001, if you found out that I mean on Sunday, Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be going 1-on-1 with Hulk Hogan for the WWE Championship.
Listen,
in the main event,
right? We all agree that
would sell a pay-per-view
like
regardless of what else was on the card.
6-year-old Garrett, 29-year-old Greg, and like I'm
older than him.
I'm breaking on him, all right? We would probably have adored that match as kids. So I think probably we are looking at it through a different lens. For me, I would have just done Goldberg versus Austin personally.
So I would have same idea.
Yeah, me and Scott the same. He didn't say who went over, and I might get some flack, but I would like Goldberg to go over Austin in a fairly sharpish match as well.
What, squash Austin?
Yes.
Yeah. I can take squashing Austin if he gets squashed by Lesnar.
Sure.
What, like?
I mean, that's a bit too early, but like eventually, sure. I think if what you do is if
2002, 2003, Lesnar.
If you're like, boom, here's the momentum. We have an unbeatable, right? And you just take it. Like you can go and you can do whatever. Like you can still. I don't think that would kill Austin in any way, especially if he's either about to turn heel or has already done so, right? Because he would have already been heel at this point if we're doing it after like post Mania.
I mean, again, it's like your booking scenario. So would you have him?
Right. Well, that's my point. Just have it kind of be heel Austin against just Goldberg. Have him win. I think that's actually a absolutely insane way to end a pay-per-view, and just have him still be undefeated Goldberg until Lesnar. And then there you go. That's what I would personally do. However, money wise, Hogan Austin it probably might do better. Just off on a little bit of just a little inkling. I think Hogan maybe just maybe.
See, if it was Goldberg, if they'd never done having Nash squash him, I could see that.
Well, the thing is, I think audiences forget that, and I especially think they'd do it because I mean they did it for the last this was when he came back in 2016. No, maybe after that, but I think he came back in 2016. Point is, audiences forget that, and when he's standing across from Stone Cold Steve Austin, they would forget that. Like when he stood across from Brock and he beat Brock in 10 seconds. They would have done the exact same in 2001. They would have done the exact same if he did that to Austin. And then you would have literally just reignited it. You could have had that go on for a couple years. But again, like I say,
how quickly the climate changes.
Yeah.
Back then, though, it wouldn't have changed quick because it was pre-internet.
No, but that's what I mean. You wouldn't have gotten something like that quick.
My thinking...
We were saying the other day, we didn't even realize Sheamus was the US champion.
Yeah.
Right now, you mentioned that Apollo was the IC champion. I didn't know who the IC champion was.
Well, it's partly because Sheamus is
obviously that's part of the booking,
but a part of my thinking as well is you just change the landscape quite a lot in really interesting ways. You give the WCW title to a WWE guy, and then you give the WWE title to Goldberg. I think it just really changes it up and makes it this is like one of the one times where you really should have done a 50-50 booking style thing, really, and made stars on both sides, made stories that could continue. The amount of rematches you make and the amount of storylines that go forward. I mean, you look back and you see the talk of potentially continuing WCW on another channel, and they were coming up with names. They even did like a poll for like what the WCW TV show would be called, like instead of Nitro and everything like that. But then that fell through, and then just everything fell through, and nothing happened. I think the takeaway mainly from all of this is that this is probably the biggest and like the biggest missed opportunity in wrestling, and like one of genuinely the biggest missed opportunities in media. You know, you had wrestling at one of its highest heights, at the hottest point it could have been. It was white hot, right? And now it's now.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that annoys me the most with, like, not with tonight, but with the invasion in general, and Greg's mentioned it, other people on YouTube and what have you have mentioned it, is wait a year.
Yeah.
Wait a year. Wait a year. You've got Hogan, you've got Hall, you've got Nash, you've got Goldberg, you've got everyone who's like...
You got Bischoff.
Yeah.
Ric Flair debuts on Raw the night after the Survivor Series where WWE wins and ends the angle.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, literally a day after the angle ends. Oh, yeah, there's one of the biggest WCW guys. And it's like, where the fuck was he the last few months?
Right, little sort of bonus round. If you were going to book a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, WWE, WCW, who are you having?
Pretty much most people in my minutes. I'd probably go with the three main NWO guys. So you'd have Hogan, Hall, and Nash.
You'd have Hogan, Hall, Nash.
What, Sting and Flair?
Yeah.
I think the problem is too many big guys there. I think it depends how you pace things. Like, probably that, because it's just like, here are all of my favorite action figures. I put them all there, and against our other favorite action figures, right?
And I go
DDP makes more sense to build a star.
True.
But if you are just going like, yeah, because I mean, one of the problems with where we put DDP in here is that, to me, I think DDP could have been so much bigger than he was. I think everyone agrees there. But yeah, I think that's probably it. And then on the WWE side, it's just like Rock Austin. I'd probably put Mankind, Angle. Who else?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like WCW did have like really established stars. WWE only had a couple.
It still had a fairly stacked main roster, but it was heavily dominated by, at that point, Rock, Angle, Austin, and Triple H. Occasionally, The Undertaker would have crop up into it if they needed him for the main event. So it wasn't like completely trounced. It's like, I'd say arguably, because 2001, it wasn't just like the main event card was stacked. Their mid card was the most stacked it's ever been. And to be fair, that's one shining point of the invasion angle, is they got an even stronger mid card because they had all the ECW guys and WCW guys they could get, which helped bolster that up even further. It's just like none of them were, other than DDP and Booker T, were the main event names they needed to really push this angle forward, which is why they gave them Austin and stuff. So yeah. So
like, I'll throw one last one out there. Like,
sure.
Regardless of not doing a dream card or anything like that, but 2000, like say 2000, 2001, your ultimate dream WWE versus WCW match as a fan. Not thinking about where you're going to put it on a card or anything like that, but what are you having?
Sting and Taker, probably.
It's
Depending
probably.
On my mindset at the time.
I feel like that's looking back now for me is Sting and Taker.
Yeah.
Probably as a child, it was. Austin was still my favorite over Taker at the time. I know as a kid, I didn't like Biker Taker really. That was never cool to me. I just didn't like it. A spooky take. I've always been a spooky boy. I like spooky things. But I would probably have gone Austin. I might have even as a kid liked Austin Hogan or Austin Flair or something. Jesus.
See, mine would have been, because it was The Rock that I was the biggest fan of, so it would have probably still been Rock and Hogan, even though we did eventually get that. If you were looking at doing this as the invasion then, it would have probably been Rock and Hogan I'd have been most psyched for. Yeah.
I've just realised my question that I've just posed to you guys, I might not be able to answer myself because it might not fit the timeline.
What was yours?
Between, like if I was going to do like a WCW versus WWE around about that time, I'd have went Angle Hart.
Yeah. Right.
Actually,
it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
If I really put myself in my, as a child, really, it would have been like, I want to see Austin against Rey Mysterio. That would have been my dream match as a kid, genuinely. And I still want to see it because I like them both. They're my favorite action figures.
Austin and Mysterio.
You trying to work the match out in your mind?
Yeah.
You don't have to. All right, just let this 6-year-old have it.
Just my imagination can't see Austin taking a Hurricane Rana.
I could see him taking one, and that would have to be it.
One, and then he re-breaks his neck.
Well,
gentlemen,
what have we settled on for this main event anyway? We haven't really come and do a final decision. Okay, we'll make it simple. Rock, are we going Austin Hogan or Austin Goldberg?
It's probably Austin Hogan.
Austin
in terms of ticket sales and actual, let's just, even if it's shit, right? It's like dream match and people will shut up about it. So probably that.
Yeah, and
there you go. The main event is Austin Hogan. Everyone can stop talking about it being a dream match. It's happening in someone's imagination.
And is Austin going over, I guess, just to send the crowd home happy?
No.
Yeah, probably. Well, no, it depends. If we're doing this straight after, as the proper invasion.
Rock beat Flair, right, in the last one.
This is why Goldberg's better.
Yeah.
Goldberg going over works more.
My thing was, I'd have Rock go over, win the WCW title, Austin go over, WWE title, WrestleMania. Unification.
And then delay Rock Hogan for another time?
Even if you delay till say SummerSlam.
Okay. Well, that's the next match you do. Then you do Rock Hogan for the WCW, and you do Austin Goldberg at the next Mania for the WWF.
Well, I could live with that. I think we've managed to just pretty much go together a pretty solid call. Do you want me to run through the whole thing and who's winning who?
Yeah, go on, real quick.
Let's do this card.
Okay. Just so we can keep the tally going, Jay, so you keep track of the WWE guys that win. Gary, you keep track of the WCW guys that win.
Hold on. Let me just get in the. Mum, please, can I buy this pay-per-view? It's only 60 quid. Look, these are the people on the card. And I turn on the trailer.
Opening match is a 6-way cruiserweight light heavyweight unification match featuring X-Pac, Taka Michinoku, Tajiri, Billy Kidman, Rey Mysterio, and the Hurricane. Billy Kidman.
Mum, see, I've got the toy of him.
Billy Kidman wins. That's 1 point to WCW. Second match was the singles match. It's Kurt Angle versus Lance Storm, with Lance Storm going over. So that's 2 points to WCW. The third match was tag team, Edge and Christian versus Harlem Heat, with Edge and Christian winning. WWE scores a point there. It was the fourth match, which was the free choice, and that was Dean Malenko versus AJ Styles in a submission match with Dean Malenko going over. That's another point to WWE. After that, it was the WWE WCW Tag Team Title Unification match, 30-minute Iron Man match, APA versus the Steiner Brothers, with the Steiner Brothers winning, so that's a point in WCW. Another free choice, and it was the Tornado Tag Street Fight, Vince and Shane McMahon versus Eric Bischoff and Diamond Dallas Page, with Mick Foley as the guest referee. Vince and Shane went over. That's another point to WWE. Intercontinental US title unification ladder match, RVD versus Conan versus Chris Jericho versus William Regal. Chris Jericho wins. That's a point to WWE. Then it was the Buried Alive match, Undertaker versus Sting, with Sting going over in mind for taking the fight later down the line as the Dead Man. Tag team, then it was Triple H and Shawn Michaels, DX versus Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, NWO. DX win. That's a point to WWE. Main event, first main event is Ric Flair versus The Rock. Rock wins the WCW title, number point to WWE. And then the main event was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan, with Austin winning the WWE title. That's a point to WWE.
That's
WWE,
4-7.
WWE completely trounces WCW in our booking.
But I do agree with what you said earlier, Greg. It should have been like 5-5 until the main event.
Yeah, if we had it, I mean, we won't go for it now. Like, we could probably debate it another time, but like, it would be if you're going to book a show like this, it needs to basically go 5-5 to the main event, and then one needs to be the deciding. That's how they always book these kind of things. That's how I planned it out. I think going into it, because we were voting, obviously the stipulation was going to get fucked up a little bit, but that's still a pretty solid card. But I do agree with Garrett's point; you'd be completely burnt out by the very end of it.
I'm burnt out right now.
What they would have been better off doing is like doing maybe like a series of matches, a series of pay-per-views, like escalating in scale. So you'd have like your first, even if you did 3, so your first one, it was all like more like your undercard guys. Maybe not even a pay-per-view, maybe like a Raw. A couple of weeks on Raw where it was just your undercard guys. Get some like lower card guys, like bit of momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'd have maybe a pay-per-view where it was just your mid-card guys, your IC titles, your US titles, stuff like that. Then you'd have your third one where it was like, that's where you go hell-bent for leather.
Yeah.
Where he's like, why haven't we seen Austin? Why haven't we seen The Rock? Why haven't we seen Hogan, Hall, Nash, Flair? And that third one, that's when they all come out.
Well, no, the point is with this was like, obviously, I think we could have literally worked out a whole episode where we planned it, the whole invasion angle. This was just meant to be us building the finale and then pitching storylines that could have ran throughout. So, I mean, in my head, I was thinking, okay, if I've got Rock and Hogan here, then that means we've had Austin Hogan at a different pay-per-view earlier on. That was just the mindset. But I think we've done well. People could just let us know in the comments or wherever you want to drop us a message how you think we did on the card.